All right, everyone, we have another astroturfing attempt to try to get Trump and Desantis fans to attack one another. That's really what this is. I've made it clear my desires for the 24 election. I'll be voting for Trump. DeSantis pushing HB 269 was a step too far for me, and so I'm not going to be driving with DeSantis. I'm on the Trump train. If Trump were to croak tomorrow or something, I'd hope Rand Paul gets into the race. He would be my candidate of choice. But this particular incident is being astroturfed as a phenomenally important sort of event. ABC News, they had a leaker who got the 2018 debate prep videos that DeSantis was working with for his gubernatorial bid. And someone leaked them to ABC. Matt Gaetz was involved among others, and he's pissed off about it and basically making light of the incident at this point because nobody really cares. And in it, they're like, well, can you think of any policy on which you disagree with Trump? And DeSantis is like, I got to figure this out. So, basically not many of them. Although I didn't see Trump pushing HB 269, so there are some differences, but there is a lot of overlap. And that's actually to DeSantis' credit more than anything else. Other than that, as a governor, he's generally done a good job. Again, I don't know that he's ready for primetime presidential campaigning. He's made a series of blunders, but this is not one of them. Firstly, it's not even pertinent to the current election cycle. This is from 2018. As part of debate prep, naturally, at that particular time, you're going to be asked about Trump because everyone was talking incessantly about Trump 24/7. DeSantis had to prep. If he's going to run a campaign, he's got to be able to answer the question of his policy differences with Trump, his thoughts on Trump, and it's going to be half the debate is going to be Trump, basically. It makes sense for him to prep about that. I don't see anything wrong with that. When he comes out and says, well, I got to figure out how to frame the fact that I do sometimes disagree with him and without pissing off his voters, well, I mean, he's not wrong, is he? In full admission, there are Trump voters out there that really, 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 really like Donald Trump. Many of them are Floridians. And if you criticize Trump, sometimes they get mad. I've had this happen myself. I get criticized as being like a part of Cult 45. You're like ultra MAGA and shit, and you got to give the Trump shtick up because you can never win again. Where have we heard that before, by the way? Meanwhile, I've been attacked by Trump fans, for instance, on the Syrian airstrikes, even on the fucking lockdown bailouts and things like that. When I criticized Trump for that, there were some people that chuffed at it because they think that everything is a God-Emperor power play. That is a minority of Trump voters, but they do exist. When you're looking at a razor-thin margin, and that is exactly what you got in DeSantis' first gubernatorial bid, you don't have a lot of room for error. He barely won against Gillum in the first gubernatorial race. Now, he knocked it out of the park with the re-election bid. Chris didn't even come close. I still like how there were people that thought that Nikki Fried would be viable. God, she would have lost by fucking 50 points probably. That I can't see anything in this that is outside of the realm of normal politics. I have my misgivings about some of DeSantis' positions and some of the mistakes he's made, and I'm not supporting his potential presidential bid. I'm supporting Trump. But this particular one doesn't matter. And by the way, the idea that the legacy media is even particularly interested in attacking DeSantis when he's 30 points behind and hasn't even announced yet. If this was about DeSantis, let me tell you about strategy. They would have waited until a week or so after he announced. They would have held it back. They would have kept it as an ace up the sleeve if they were worried about DeSantis. This isn't about being worried about DeSantis. This is about trying to cripple Trump in Florida more than anything else. DeSantis' support broadly is most powerful in Florida, where he's a reasonably popular sitting governor. Well, more than reasonably popular. His re-election bid shows that his approvals there is quite high. Florida has been becoming more red lately. Back in my youth, back in the W era, Florida was a 50-50 proposition. It remained that until the end of the 2010s. Only in the last couple of cycles has Florida gone more red. Part of this is due to DeSantis. Part of it's due to an influx of conservatives from blue states. Part of it's due to the reddening of the Hispanic voting bloc, starting especially with the Cuban voters, which are prevalent in Florida to the tune of, I think, several million. All of these things combined, and plus the Trump economy. A lot of Floridians worried about economic issues when you get to contrast Trump and the good job he generally did with Joe Biden and the shitty job that he's doing, yeah, that might make your state lean a little more conservative. So Florida has been moving out of the Dems' reach. They want to claw it back. What better way to do that than to try to get DeSantis in, or at the very least put him in opposition with Trump and hope he lashes out? That's probably the best way to do it. See, Trump has the same problem DeSantis expresses in the 2018 debate tape. And this is not a coincidence, everybody. Just to be clear, this is not coincidental. The legacy media doesn't release stuff like this without a strategic purpose in mind. Again, if they thought that DeSantis would be a credible threat to Trump in the political sense, as far as actually being nominated, they would have held this back until after he announced in order to blunt his announcement. The reason that they decided to release it now is singularly this. Get Trump, hopefully, to attack DeSantis some more and alienate some of DeSantis' core fans, thus making a 3 or 4 point difference in the state of Florida where DeSantis has a reasonably high approval rating. That's it. That's the purpose for this. So I'm not going to take the debate. Again, I'm not going to go full Trump v. DeSantis grudge match. Oh, it's us and them and we let's split the vote and shit like that. I mean, that's what the liberals want. I can criticize both of them. I'm on the Trump train. That doesn't mean Trump is perfect. Hell, I have no clue if he would do as well in a second term as he did in his first. I'm hoping he goes full Grover Cleveland, partially just to piss off the goddamn Uniparty and the crazy liberals out there who see nothing wrong with the throwing away of 250 years of legal and civic precedents in order to perform a witch hunt of a former president of the United States / current political frontrunner. If you don't think that's corrupt and that there's nothing wrong with the situation, with the dogpiling and kangaroo courtism going on right now, then I question your sanity. I certainly question your understanding of civics and of legal precedent. These tapes, in and of themselves, just show DeSantis. He's running for election for the gubernatorial slot. He's like, hey, I'm obviously going to get asked about the elephant in the room. What should I do about it? He's trying to figure his way through it. He's a fairly fresh face. In gubernatorial politics, certainly a literal fresh face. He's trying to understand exactly how he's going to be able to differentiate himself from Trump, which is meaningful. Hey, I'm not just a knockoff of the president. That's important to establish. Hey, I'm running for an executive position. I've got my own views, my own power and so forth. I'm trying to be governor. I'm not just Trump's lackey. There's nothing wrong with making that differentiation. That's not a slap at Trump. That's, hey, I want to be the chief executive of this state. And under the 10th Amendment, it's an important role, so I kind of got to be able to show people I'm not just a fucking cookie cutter or a coattail rider. And then he says, well, if I have a problem with Trump, I'll bring it up in private. Well, that's the right thing to do. Actually, that's good on DeSantis. Good on you for understanding that. I hope that carries over into the current electoral cycle. Dear Ron, it's not a good idea to run a suicide campaign and destroy your state level and potentially later on federal level political career. You know, I'm sorry, the people of Florida will probably forgive you for HB 269. Some of us are permanently off the driving with DeSantis thing, but you have to appease Florida voters for the kind of roles that you're looking into. Get rid of Rubio. Run for a Senate seat at some point. You'd probably win. That's about all. Peace out.